Maoist has started people who were from 1996 after their 6 years parliament exercise. Multiple level of conflict over many issues were in the countries. All peoples in Nepal has faced many difficulties during the period, and Care Nepal has also faced a lot of difficulties to continue its development program. Especially there was people were more poor. People do not have any voice and power has gone. It has limited mobility for people, for development professional and any others agencies. It has increased risk for both communities, and program staffs were abducted and a lot of were harassed and beaten. There was a difficult to conduct different meetings in the society because Maoists perceived that they are trying to divert the peoples from their movement, and government has perceived that sometimes that meeting might be a Maoist, therefore that might be attacked from bombed helicopters, such like. Care Nepal adopts right-based approach for poor, vulnerable, and socially excluded peoples. Taken it not a neutral, but only a neutral for neutrality in to be affiliated in any political party, but it has taken affirmative actions towards the poor, vulnerable, and socially excluded peoples. Top-down conceptualization process has been adopted by the organization, and bottom-up practice innovations was started. In the situation, in these difficulties situations, they do not have an opportunity to talk to each other. At the moment, project in these circumstances, the program was started at conflict-affected peoples. At the moment, it was very difficult to enter into the community. Therefore, the organization has taken a do no harm principle as a in-reach strategy to the communities. Communities in this process, community involved in designing of every program, operation policies, operation procedures for every program, people's involved in designing phase, implementation phase, monitoring and evaluation phase. And during implementation of the program, project, the organization has delegated all authorities to the peoples as being a leader. They were considered leader of the programs. They were responsible for purchasing all materials by themselves. They were responsible for transporting materials by themselves. And they were managing all labor cost by themselves. Public auditing practice was institutionalized in the communities where more than 50% people must have to participate in the discussions. In this public auditing process, every expenditure of the program or role of the stakeholders and process that followed during implementation of the program was discussed, well reviewed by all peoples. It has created a transparency among all peoples about the expenditure, about the role performance, about the process of the applications. Then it has created trust among the peoples. It has created trust among peoples to organizations also. But this exercise brought them to put their voice in the floors and unite them. After 10 years conflict, in March, last of the March, there was a very important and valuable and popular people's movement in Nepal. And civil society have taken a very important role in this movement. Very tactful and well-management position for managing their voices in new constitutions and right-based approach as Care Nepal. It was just the frame situations of Care Nepal. Thank you.
I assume in both cases you were talking about audit processes of care and action aid, but if I'm wrong, you can let me know if there were other sort of targets. But if you could just expand a bit on the process of that kind of audit, and maybe difficulties you faced, how you managed to overcome some difficulties in that, if you did indeed overcome them. Do you want to add?
And the major difficulties and challenge you asked that is the concept was well accepted by all, by peoples, by insurgents, by government also. But the concept was well accepted, but the process, facilitation process was difficult, because there is different kinds of process they have to follow. They have to little bit information is insufficient information, insufficient knowledge for step to step for following process was few difficulties. Therefore, to build their knowledge, to enhance their knowledge on this process was very challenging and difficult.